Hey everybody, it's Ellie and Holly, and today we're excited to dive into the first of the 7 hurdles that we uncovered in our recent white paper, where we interviewed over 50 women in tech about their career advancement. And the first hurdle is all about visibility. And what do we mean by that? So what we found through our interviews is that because tech is largely male dominated, women didn't feel that they had both the face time as well as their voices being heard. Much of that was to do with what we'd call a carer penalty. What do we mean by that? Is that women were found to have more of that taking care of either children or maybe elderly parents, and it could be other carer responsibilities, and that because of that, they needed more flexibility and they weren't able to be in the office as much for FaceTime, as well as not being able to maybe join, networking events or after works. So the last piece of this is that women also said they didn't always feel comfortable like interrupting. And what we know about this is that we would call it conditioning, which just means that as you were brought up as a woman or a girl, you weren't encouraged to interrupt, insert yourself and make your voice heard. So just to bring this hurdle to life, Ellie, will you tell us a story about Kate?
Absolutely. So Kate is the head of data science at a major tech firm. And obviously we've changed her name for privacy reasons. And when we interviewed Kate, she mentioned that she worked in the tech industry for over 15 years and she progressed into a team leadership role just before having kids. Now, Kate also had 2 children under the age of 10. So she needed the flexibility or the carer penalty to manage daycare and school drop-offs and pickups. So that meant Kate would have to, have more flexibility in her day, log on at night so she could finish her emails, and also try to work from home 3 days a week. So the challenges that Kate mentioned was she found it really challenging to move higher in the kind of hierarchy than what she was currently at as head of data science. And she'd also been overlooked for quite a lot of opportunities. And unfortunately, she was also seeing her male peers getting promoted over her, and even those that were less experienced that may have started 3 to 5 years before her. And she was also told as she was applying for some roles, one of her mentors or some of the executive sponsors who were males assumed that she wasn't able to manage it. Because of her current life commitments. And they were saying, you're going to have to travel more, you're going to have to go into the office more with a much larger team and be present. As well as this, so you add on the bro culture. So she felt very left out in a lot of meetings, even where there were senior stakeholders where she could really show her personal brand, because they were all talking about, let's go out and play golf. What happened on the golf course? Or what happened at the recent networking event that unfortunately she wasn't able to attend because she was also looking after her children at night. So this is really the impact of the carer penalty, but also, as Holly mentioned before, the female penalty of our conditioning. And finally, talking about conditioning, Kate found it really challenging to insert her voice and opinion. So often people wouldn't hear her or wouldn't always value her opinion because she wasn't able to interrupt until maybe the conversation was over, where she would find a space to insert her voice. So Holly, if we think about this, what is the impact of not addressing these visibility issues as females in tech?
Yeah, what we saw, Ellie, was that what ends up happening is that someone like Kate, she either may decide to quiet quit, which means she starts to sort of disengage and really start losing her sense of purpose in the organization. Or she really just says, you know what, I don't see myself here anymore. I'm going to go somewhere else in IT. So therefore, the organization loses a great investment into a top talent who wasn't able to progress up. So I know you and I are all about rewriting the story, right? So we want to help organizations and women leaders rewrite the story of what's happening. So a couple of the ways that we will actually outline in our 5 strategies, but this is a way to rewrite the story, is that when organizations are creating cultures where it's really encouraged that every voice be heard, right? That there isn't this opportunity where people are being passed over, which also means there's deeper listening. And that's actually good for everyone. It's good for business, customers, stakeholders. Another piece of this, though, is that an organization that has a culture where really the idea is that your impact, your measurable impact, is more important than your face time in the organization or your face time at events. These are things that are all part of culture and actually will really help everyone, not just women, right? When we start thinking about the ways that we are able to make like cultures work for every employee. So there's more belonging for everyone. It
Yeah.
benefits, it benefits everyone. And then the last piece of this is really just that, and the work that we've found is that there are layers to why Kate might not feel comfortable inserting her voice. So when we work in our career accelerator or one-on-one with women, we help women to look at like, what is it that will help her to overcome some of that conditioning? It's not a matter of just raising your voice or, so we work with that so that the limiting stories will start to be revealed. And
Yeah.
then practice new behaviors that wire the brain and the body to show up differently for Kate. So it becomes natural for her as well to insert her voice or even insert her like willingness to be promoted and to say, no, you don't need to worry about my care responsibilities. That's my job to do that. I want this job. So
Yeah.
if you're interested in learning more about our white paper, please make a comment below. And we'll be back next time to talk about hurdle number 2 and a story of one of our women leaders that you might identify with. Thanks,
Great. See you.
everybody. Yeah.